What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the local meta report here in St. Louis, Missouri. I, of course, am Brad, aka the mayor of Lorcana and co-host of the Rules of Villainy podcast, and apparently channeling Greg Miller with that aka energy. If you get that reference, we can be best friends, but I digress. I am excited to be back here in giving you the latest and greatest in Disney Lorcana decks here in the local weekly leagues. It has been nearly a month since I've been able to upload something for you. We were at the end of the Fabled set. We were in the middle of the almost the end of the set championship seasons. Was the last video that I gave you, a big video breakdown. I think 7 different decks there. But then DLC Milwaukee happened, which was an absolute treat because one of our own, St. Louis's own Aiden, a 10-year-old, got to the top 8 and was one card away from being in the top 4. So I want to give a special shout out to him because that was just an absolute delight to see, something I think that was incredible for the game. And everybody here is just still ecstatic for his success and ready to see what the next step is in the journey for him. So a quick shout out there. The other thing that happened since then was that we got a new set. We are now in the Whispers in the Well meta, which means that we have a ton of new cards, exciting cards too. We've been opening product like crazy and trying to get all the cards that we want to build these new decks and figure things out before DLC Richmond in just a month and a half. I can't believe it's like tickets have already been on sale and sold. It is crazy. That is coming up so soon. And then, of course, the set championships in January as well. So we're all figuring things out. This is week 1. Let's find out what is winning in St. Louis now. All right, and that first deck of this new meta comes to you by way of Hunter at the Collector Store on Tuesday night, going 2-1 with Amber, Emerald, something. Usually, lately, we've been saying sea dogs or chroma dogs or some kind of dogs. There are dogs in this deck, but it's not the traditional amber emerald that we are used to. Before we break the deck down, I want to give a shout out to Justin, who actually went 3-0 on the night with some spice that he's working on for CCS. He declined to include it in this video, which is totally fine. This is all completely voluntary. I'm just happy for everybody who does donate to provides their deck for this kind of content, but wants to kind of keep a competitive edge for CCS coming up. I want to wish him the best of luck, and hopefully with any luck we'll be talking about that deck in a couple of weeks when he comes back with a W there. So good luck to you, my man. Let's get back to Hunter's deck here, which, if it looks familiar to you, if you're on top of the meta game here in the first week of Disney Lorcana, this is the 4th place deck from the Sharp Gaming 10K a week ago, and it looks exciting. I am excited to talk about it for a reason that I will get to once we break down the cards here, the new cards here from the Whispers set. He is running the Raja. It's a 3-cost bodyguard, 3/4. He has the Malicious, Mean, and Scary song that is put 1 damage on all opposing characters, getting around that resist there since it is a put. And then he has the Mickey Mouse Amber Champion, which gives all your Amber characters +2 willpower. And if you have 2 or more Amber characters on the board, he gets Singer 8, which comes into play because this deck is running Circle of Life, which I think is an exciting card. It is an 8-cost sing together card, which means, of course, multiple characters can sing it together that make the 8 cost there, and you can play a character from your discard for free. Well, how is that effective, that you ask? Well, let me read to you the example he gave me for what he did that night. He said he had a Pluto and Huey on board. Of course, the 1-cost Pluto, the 2-cost Huey that each ramp characters for. You can exert the Pluto, you can quest the Huey. It makes your next character cost 1 less when you play them. So he had a Pluto and Huey on board, and he used them to play a Tramp for free. Of course, the 7-cost Tramp that allows you to search the deck, or not search the deck, but draw as many cards as you have characters on board. He had 5 characters on board at the time, and he got to play the Tramp for free with Pluto and Huey. So when he did that, he got a Circle of Life from the Tramp, and he discarded a Stitch. He sang the Circle of Life to play the Stitch, which of course allows you to draw 2 cards. He has enough characters on board to activate the Stitch ability. Then he drew into another Tramp. At this time, he had 7 characters on board. He got to play another Tramp for free. And then he got a bunch of 2 or 3 1 cost, he said. And he put 9 lore worth of characters on the board with 5 ink in his inkwell. that he hadn't even exerted yet. He topped it off by playing a Mowgli. Oh, and I forgot to mention Mowgli is a new card in this deck as well, who is basically bare necessities on a body, except the opponent gets to pick what action they discard when Mowgli comes into play. And he used that Mowgli to check out the opponent's hand and see that they don't have any removal. This game is pretty much donezo. It was he played over 20 costs worth of characters on board for only having 5 ink in his inkwell. The dreaded F word in Disney Lorcana, or I guess all card games, is free, and he did a whole lot of it in this turn, and I could not believe it. That is a wild play. Maybe something that will never happen again. Who knows? But a wild chain of events to allow something so crazy to happen. And I was like, that's crazy. I have to play this deck. That sounds like so much fun. And then, of course, the big removal combo in here. He is running Under the Sea as well, which we're all familiar with. It is an 8-cost Sing Together that puts all characters 2 cost or 2 strength or less under the opponent's deck. But the new big removal that he is also running is a combo of Malicious, Mean, and Scary with the big Prince Philip that can shift in on his 3-cost target and wipe the board, because whenever Big Philip comes into play, it is banish all damaged opposing characters. So seems like it's a lot of fun. I really want to check this out. He went 2-1 on the night. I don't know his matchups. I think he was the combo that I told you was up against a Baja, but that Amber, I should say Emerald Sapphire. But yeah, that just sounds incredible. I think this is probably what I might be playing this upcoming week. So, yeah, congratulations to Hunter on your performance there. You've been on Amber Emerald for a while, and that sounds like so much fun, man. So, congratulations one more time. All right, moving on to our second deck of the week. We have Rules of Villainy own Villain Andy going 3-0 at Bodach's Games on Thursday night with Amethyst Steel. This has been a very consistent deck throughout the entire Fabled meta, let alone the fact that it won DLC Milwaukee just a few weeks ago in the hands of Frank Karsten. We have Andy testing out a bunch of the new cards. New set means a bunch of new cards. He said, let's try them all, and he got the job done because the deck is just so good. If you want to hear somebody better talk about this deck than me, somebody who refuses to basically play it, the most recent episode, a shameless plug here, of the Rules of Villainy podcast, episode 71, Andy broke down this deck quite a bit before actually getting to play it on Thursday night. We record on Wednesdays, and he talked a lot about this, what he was cooking up, and it seemed to work for him. So if you want to hear his thoughts, more important than mine, for sure, if you want to know, break down this deck, go check that out. That is on the channel as well. I'm going to break down some of the new cards that are exciting to me. I think this 2-cost Iago is a lot of fun. He's a 0-2 quest for 1, but he has Challenger 5. So you put him out there. If they don't deal with him, you can't turn anything sideways on curve because he's just going to crash into it, assuming it's not evasive or something. But I think that card's fun. I'd like to hear Andy's thoughts on if he's going to keep it in there, if he's going to pump more in there. But it's a big threat. 5-2 there on the challenge. He's got a Violet Saberwing that is evasive 3-1 on turn. He's got the Black Heron 3-3 quest for 1. The Cheshire Cat is a lot of fun. It is one of 2 whispers in the deck. It is the one at the 3-cost that is basically a small Bell Accomplished Mystic, except it is repeatable. You can boost this character once per turn to move up to 2 damage, not 3 like Bell, from one character to an opposing character. So a lot of good this is a very challenge heavy deck. So as you're challenging into things and you boost the cat, you can just keep your board healthy by moving that damage, finishing off some characters. We've seen it so much in the last couple sets with Bell doing that in Blurple and Amethyst Steel and so on. So I think that's a really good inclusion. I don't see that number going down. It probably might even go up as the deck evolves throughout the set. We got the Lexington in there as a big genie threat. Alert is a new keyword that is basically evasive on turn. It just doesn't activate with Dumbo like the previous evasive on turn cards do. 4/4 runs into genie, takes that out cleanly. He's trying out the 1 of 4-cost Demona, who is 4/6 Challenger 2 on the 4 slot, which is kind of exciting. Perhaps my favorite card in the set, for just namesake alone, as the Mayor of Lorcana, we have the Mayor Wind Dancer card in the 4 slot as well, that Andy is testing out. This fabulous horse, this actor turned politician with a 5/7 stat line, quest for 1. Just a menace to deal with there in the 4 slot. So love that card. I'd like to hear Andy's thoughts on that as we, move forward in the meta discussions here on the podcast. Perhaps the most villainous card in here, something we are going to be talking about in the entire set probably, is this Hades looking for a deal. He comes out, he chooses an opposing character, and if you don't put that character at the bottom of your deck, the player draws 2 cards. So it's it's making a deal. It's removal or it's draw. It's not both, but it gives the opponent a sticky situation to get in. Do I want to give my opponent more resources, or do I want to? Because this Hades is always going to choose probably the most valuable target to the opponent, right? So you're either throwing it under the bottom of your deck or you're giving your opponent's cards. So really cool card. In fact, to quote Andy on Thursday night after a couple of games, he's like, God, Hades is so much fun. So I love seeing that enthusiasm. I think this is a really good card. He's a 3/4 quest for 1, but his ability on play is what really makes him exciting. The other Whisper in the deck is a 5-cost Ursula, Whisper of Vanessa. He just did a 1 of this time to test that out. She's a 4/5 quest for 2, but if you boost her for the lowly cost of 1 ink, she becomes an evasive and quests for 1 more. So she is a 4/5 quest for 3 with evasive, and that is troublesome. But yeah, so those are the 2 Whispers. 2 other new cards in the deck. Of course, the Demona, the legendary Demona. She's a 5/6 quest for 2. When you play her, the opponent exerts all characters on their board, and any player with 3 or less cards in their hand draws up to 3. So kind of an exciting card. Like to see where Andy stays with that, if she's effective or not. I would imagine turning everything sideways and being able to challenge in this, again, challenge heavy deck is worth it. So we'll probably be talking about that in the weeks to come on the podcast as well. And I feel like I'm just shamelessly plugging the podcast in this entire thing here, but it's Andy that we're talking about here. So I feel like it's warranted if you want further in-depth review of this deck. And then finally, the final card from Whispers in the Well in here. He's running 2 of the Diet Zeus, Along Came Zeus, which is he hurled his Thunderbolt, deal 4 damage to chosen character. Your deity characters gain Challenger +2 this turn, which does come into effect when he's running these Hades here. And I don't know if there's any other deities or not in this lineup here, but solid deck. Andy went 3-0. I don't know what his matchups were. I think he probably played Kirsten. He always gets paired into his wife, which Shu is playing Blurple. I think if he went 3-0, he probably played Ron at the end, who was also on Amethyst Steel. But I'm just guessing here. I don't actually know the matchups, unfortunately. But congratulations to Andy. I'm sure this won't be the last time we see you on here with this kind of deck. So, yeah, we'll see you on the next one. All right, moving on to our third deck of the week. By way of Steven out at Manticore Game Shop, we have Ruby Amethyst at 3-0. Ruby Amethyst on its way back up to the big leagues. The top dog for so long has been not really meta relevant for a while, but I know Steven personally wants to make it that way, and he's starting off batting 1,000 here in this new meta. So congratulations to him. Let's break down the new cards that he's put in here from the Whispers set. He has the 1-cost Inkable Tinkerbell. She's a 3/1 quest for 1. There is a shift line in the set that he has omitted. Maybe, I don't know if he considered it or not, but something to think about. I do like that card quite a bit. At the 2 slot, he has the uninkable Diablo Watchful Raven, who is a 3/3 quest for 2, as well as the inkable Shere Khan Keen-Eyed Hunter, 3/3 quest for 1. An interesting observation. They are both same stats, except 1 quest for 2, 1 quest for 1. I guess the inkability of the card is determined by that lore pip. Good to know. At the 3 slot, he is one of the Cheshire Cat, which I think is a really exciting card. We talked about it at length in Andy's deck just a little bit ago, but I like the synergy in here quite a bit as well. There's a lot of damage manipulation here happening. We also see that he has the Bell Accomplished Mystic, so moving damage a lot there, as well as some other Gothel challenge card. Whenever one of your characters challenges, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So damage getting moved all over the place here, and it's going to come relevant here in just a second as we move on through the rest of the deck. The Hades we talked about with Andy as well, the same removal or draw two, a little bit of a draw engine there, but the Hades 7-cost uninkable 3/6. We've talked about this card in the past. When you he's the Ruthless Tyrant. When you play this character and whenever he quests, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to draw 2 cards, which is, yeah, that's a great deal. We have the bells. We've had the bells in the past to move that damage. We now have the Cheshire Cat, which is repeatable. If you have that cat established and you boost him the next turn, you're manipulating the damage like crazy, keeping a healthy board. But also, at the 8-cost slot, we have the Shift Shere Khan. He is the Fierce and Furious Shere Khan, who can shift onto the 2-drop that we talked about earlier. He's an 8/8, an absolute unit in quests for 2, shift 5, and he has the ability Wild Rage. 1 ink, deal 1 damage to this character to ready him. He can't quest for the rest of the turn. So you're doing a little bit of self-damage. You are challenging him. Again, 8/8, you're basically taking out anything you run into. And if you have a Cheshire Cat, if you have a bell, if you have some way of removing that damage that you're self-imposing, he just sits out there for a while until they deal with him in whatever way they have. I like that card a lot, and I like that it worked for Steven, and it gets me excited to actually try Ruby Amethyst again. It's been so long. I haven't played Ruby Amethyst, I think, since set 2. Haven't played it seriously since set 2, and this has given me vibes that I might enjoy it once again. So I'm going to keep a lookout on this. There are 2 other cards in here that he is running from Whispers in the Well. It is the 2-cost item, Junior Woodchuck Guidebook. It is an exert this card and pay 1 ink to banish this item and draw 2 cards. So essentially, it is Friends on the Other Side at the 3 cost there. So it's a 2-cost item, but it costs 1 to banish the item. And when we used to, it's Friends on the Other Side. We had at home, right? So draw 2 cards. So pretty cool there. There is some cool synergy in like Blurple where you can recur that with Tamatoa, or play it for free, I should say. And then one location here that is kind of neat. It is the Great Illuminary, the new Amethyst location. And whenever a character is here, they gain Exert this card uh, to draw a card. And it is only a 1/3, so it is not a card that you want to play and wait on. You want to play this card to get immediate value from. So any characters you already have established out there and dry, you drop this card, you move them over there, and if you don't want to quest them, you can turn them sideways, draw a card, and get some other options there. It only costs 1 ink to move a character there, so I like that quite a bit. And some other cards we didn't talk about here that are exciting. We always love Goofy here. A little Peepo action, Flying Goof. He is a rush 5/5 with evasive, quest for 1, so he can surprise an enemy who is turned sideways there and take them out with that 5/5 strength there. Of course, the Maleficent Dragon is there at a 2. 2 of those 9-cost inkable card, 7/5, and banish does a Dragonfire on play. When you're up against a Blurple. I like the Dragon quite a bit. The last couple sets where Blurple was constantly just inking you for removal, so she seemed so much easier to get to in the ramp. And then Be King Undisputed is just, I love Scar. I love Be Prepared. I think it's the greatest Disney song that exists. Don't at me. And so, of course, that makes the opponent choose what characters they want to banish when that song is sang. So ultimately, seems like a really cool deck. I would consider the Tink shift line, the Mulan shift line, even if you're in an aggro heavy meta, is always fun. So yeah, congratulations to Steven. I'm sure we'll be talking about different variations of this deck. This is week 1. And this deck is going to evolve, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So congratulations one more time.
All right. And finally, from the Friday Night League at the Collector Store, we have Nick going 3-0 with Amethyst Steel. I reached out to Nick and I said, hey, I heard you went 3-0 on the night. Do you want to share your deck? And he goes, it's not really anything to write home about. It was week 1. I just threw some new cards in there and tested it out. And I said, I fear not, man. It's week. We're all figuring this out together. Let's see what you got. And he was kind enough to share. So shout out to him. Also, he does have a YouTube channel. He does a bunch of cute videos with his daughter, Lorcana Collections. I will have a link in the description below. So check that out. They do a lot of fun games with pack openings. They did a bunch of people in DLC, a bunch of pro players, a bunch of content creators. And it's just so much fun to watch them build their theme binders and everything, and just
definitely go check that out. But let's talk about their deck, or Nick's deck here really quickly here. It is Amethyst Steel, a lot of the same heavy hitters that we known from the past few sets. The new cards that he has included is the Lena Saberwing at the 2 slot, the evasive character. He is running the Mim Tiny Adversary, which I think Andy was not running earlier in the video. He does have the Black Heron as well at the 2 slot. One of the Cheshire Cats, a lot of one-ofs here, 3 Lexingtons, probably because, again, it's week 1 of the meta. Not everybody has all the cards yet, hasn't been able to open a whole lot of packs. I'm just speculating here, but maybe he just wanted to test a few of the cards and see how they fit in. He is on the Yzma package, which is one of the Amethyst Steels that I ran into on Bodach's Thursday night, where Yzma is just as good as ever. The deck that I was running was Amber Ruby, and I had no answers for a 3-strength character on curve. Ron figured that out immediately and was like, well, I'll just play her on curve and get instant value from her because you can't do anything about her. So Yzma is still good. Exert this card to draw 3 cards if she survives the initial play. So Nick is still running 4 of her and got the job done with that. He's got one of the Hades in there, which is a legendary card, hard to pull. I haven't pulled one myself yet, so that could be the reason why only one of them's in there. I think Hades is a 4 of, and probably maybe not every, but most Amethyst decks. So he's that good, and he's got one of the Demona and one of the He Hurled His Thunderbolt in there. Well, so Nick has been on Amethyst Steel for a while, been very successful with it, testing out some new cards here, and yeah, Lexington, 3 of those. Looks good. Congratulations to him on his win on Friday night. All right, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up week 1 of the Whispers in the Well meta here in St. Louis. Shout out to all the players who provided their decks to allow me to make this kind of content. And congratulations to you guys one more time. It is an absolute blast to get to do this week after week. In fact, meeting everybody in Milwaukee was an absolute pleasure. And some of them know of the podcast because of these videos. As you know, my teammates would even tell me in the days following, they're like, yeah, people came up and he's like, yeah, we know, we watched the mayor in his meta reports. And I'm like, but it's just a localized thing. There's other content creators who do bigger deck breakdowns, bigger tournaments, and way better than I do it. So the fact that these localized meta videos that I do here to celebrate the community reach even further out than the St. Louis bubble is just bonkers to me. And it means the world. All the support that we get. Can't thank you guys enough. So thank you for coming up and saying hi. Thank you for your support and tuning in week after week. It absolutely means the world. And I'm just repeating myself now in saying that, but I do mean it. That being said, we do got to close out this video. So if you like this kind of content, please smash that like button. If you want to subscribe, sign the scroll and ring the bell for notifications for any kind of upcoming Rules of Villainy content. I know that was cheesy, but I am the champion of cheese. So no, but unfortunately, it is time to go. So thank you for tuning in this week. Hope to see you next week. And until then, happy questing.